Good morning again from the Upper Lake Lily Trailhead. Today going to be hiking Mt Lindsey via the Northwest Ridge and tagging on additional Centennial Huerfano Peak. For a full trail guide of both of these mountains, you can go ahead and check the link in the description below. The road in, again, I feel like all of these, I've been saying this lately, has gotten really bad over the years. So I would not recommend driving very high at all up this road if you do not have at least a stock all-wheel drive SUV with decent clearance, like 8 or 9 inches. There are just some really nasty spots. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I've already hiked Mt Lindsey, but because of the conditions at the time, I ended up taking the northwest slopes instead of the ridge itself. So excited to tackle the ridge, and I figured since I'm here and working my way through the centennials, Huerfano Peak is a centennial, so going to be tacking that on as well. This hike should be right around 10.5 miles with just under 5,000-ish feet of elevation. One of 2 trail junctions on the day, so you're just going to stay straight or left here. If you went right, you could go up to obviously Lily Lake, and that also gives you access to Centennial California Peak, which I'll have in a future video. Around 1.25 miles into the hike, and you might be thinking, man, this hike is stupid easy. And that's cool, but you actually haven't done anything yet. We're under 200 feet of elevation gain, and for anyone who can do averages in your head, you have a lot to go, and just about 3.25 miles to the summit of Mt Lindsey. So from this point on, it's going to get much steeper. Steep. God, I'd love to go deeper into this thing. That's what he said. So damn cool. They're so dangerous though, especially the ones that are just hanging out like this. As you get to the upper part of this gully here, the climbing eases and the basin will start to open up in front of you, and boy is it beautiful. Sun is blasting my camera, but you're going to descend here and then work your way up to this point right here, which is the saddle of Lindsay next. Absolutely gorgeous up here. So you got Blanca to the left, Ellingwood to the right, some 13ers, Centennial California Peak is back there. Enjoy this small little section of flat because it'll be the last one you have pretty much for the whole day. Just a tiny bit above 12,000 right here. So 2,000 feet to go in just under 2 miles. Now that the sun isn't blasting my camera so bad, so you're gonna switch back up here, and then this ridge right here, you're gonna go over, go left, and then that's the saddle. That's the iron nipple right there, which is a 13er, and I'll have to cross through that on the other side to get to Huerfano. Your first glimpse at Lindsay, and that is a false summit you see there. And from here, it's gonna hang a left, join the official ridge. All right, finally on the ridge now, and you're gonna have basically 2 choices. This video will obviously cover the North Ridge. If you didn't want to do that, you could take the North Gully. I'll link my other video about that in the description below. The audio is a little poor at times, but it really shows you exactly what to expect in the North Gully. The North Ridge will just be a bit more exposed with higher class 3 moves, and the Gully will have worse trail conditions. So I think this will be the better route, but we'll see. This cairn right here, you're gonna go left if you want the North Gully, right if you want the North Ridge. Pretty cool. I love when you can see your shadow like that on the ridge. Awesome. This ridge is, like I said, high class 3 at its crux, but most of it will just be kind of stuff like this. Lower class 3, class 2. The crux wall, I'll show you in a little bit here, is the highest class 3 portion of the ridge. As you get closer to the crux wall here, which I'll show you in a sec, you might want to stay kind of low a bit. As you can see here, this definitely starts to exceed class 3. I think I can just go around right here, but you know, that's a way easier way. Things are going really well for me right now. Dropped the GoPro I'm recording on down the mountain about 20 feet. So I had to down climb through the snow, which is completely unnecessary for me to touch today to get it. And then the front pocket of my backpack broke, both zippers. So now I had to move everything into the one behind me here. Looking up towards the crux of the route here, so you can either go like there, take this crack, go right. It's really up to you, whatever you feel most comfortable with. This is looking down the crux, back to where the kind of crossover is, right there. Crux wasn't too bad, had to make it a little more difficult with the controller and had a guy coming down at the same time. But overall, pretty solid rock. Definitely test your holds. There's some looser stuff, but nothing terrible. Once you leave that section, you'll be back on the ridge and getting closer to the summit there. False summit here. True one, just right over there. Summit of Mount Lindsey, beautiful up here. A little bit of smoke. Have the summit to myself for the time being. Just about 4.5 miles to the summit. My watch probably bounced around a bit and some backtracking, so I'd say 8.5 is probably reasonable. Yeah, the ridge was fun. A bit less class 3 than I was expecting, but the crux was a fun little portion. And remember, you still have to go down that way unless you want to do the gully, which I wouldn't recommend. In terms of dogs on this mountain, I wouldn't recommend them on the ridge. You might be able to get away with them in the gully, but keep in mind again, you're in a wilderness area for the first bit, so try to keep them on a leash, and the gully's really loose as well. In terms of gear for this hike, obviously helmet, definitely hiking poles, and I'll link what to pack for a 14er in my links in the description below as well. Gonna enjoy some of the beautiful views up here on the summit, and then head down and head over to Huerfano. So, regardless of the way you go up or down, just be super careful with the rock. It is not all solid. And actually this year, earlier in 2020, this woman was climbing Mt Lindsey, and I don't know if it was natural or someone else dislodged it, but a rock came down and impacted her finger. So she had to get Black Hawked out of here because it was a compound fracture, and you know, luckily she lived, but she now has one less finger to show for it. Pretty good outcome considering what could have happened. Obviously terrible for her. I'm not trying to laugh at it, but rocks coming down these gullies, even if they're small, can do serious damage. So always wear a helmet and call stuff as it goes down. I went up over there, and I think I don't think, I'm coming down on kind of this right side here. Looks like it can just cut right there and then head down. When I'm by myself, I really try to mitigate risk. So yeah, this might not be the toughest down climb here, but it's the safest, and that's all I'm looking for. Looking back up, I just cut through there, and up. Looking down, cutting across. The key with down climbing is making sure that you have, at all times, 3, as the rocks go, 3 really solid points of contact. And although it's like completely against human nature to put your back down something steep and exposed, it's the safest way to go a lot of times, because if you slip, most likely, if you have those good 3 points, you can hang on to something. Whereas if you're down climbing facing frontwards, if you slip, there's not a lot of leverage you have against the mountain. So what I always try to do is make sure, just because for me I feel more comfortable this way, my hands have something super solid, and then I can lower my feet down to find something that works, and then continue lowering with the hands. Back down from Lindsay. A nice second time up that summit. Descent wasn't too bad, just slow. And gonna make my way over to Huerfano. Again, it is a centennial and it's class 2. Here's a good view of your route to Huerfano. So basically, you're gonna kind of go up there, skirt across that class 2 pile of rocks to the ridge, and right to the summit. It's an extremely straightforward hike. As you get up towards the iron nipple here, the rock will change color. There's this V, and you're gonna wanna go right in there. I'm hearing the 2 guys behind me have a lot of issues with their dogs, and they were going down the gully route, so maybe I take back what I said about bringing a dog up the gully. I'd be pretty hesitant to do it, to be honest. But anyway, back to this one. We're just splitting this V here, and no idea what's next, but we'll see. Trail finding has not been an issue. It's pretty well defined, and there's cairns so far, so I don't think this will be one of those ones where you're having to route find a lot. I got the iron nipple over here, so I'm just gonna descend a bit, hug the cliffs, and work your way up to the saddle. Once you round the cliff bands back there, this will be your view, and you just want to kind of go straight up across. The hiking in here is a bunch of loose crap, so just be careful. Just take your time. However you decide to get here, that's looking back. So just came through the notch, out of the saddle. From here, this is a false summit, so you want to beeline it kind of straight there. You don't need to go that way unless your heart desires. Looks like nothing. That's the summit. Getting very close. True summit is right there. Summit of Mount Huerfano. Yeah. The east side is not so great, but the west, north, south, pretty much everywhere else, absolutely gorgeous up here. Man, how pretty is it? The air quality improved a bit. There's still some smoke hanging in the air. The whole west part of the US is on fire, so what are you gonna do? Yeah, class 2, somewhat straightforward, really minimal route finding, and of course I'm the only one here because it's a 13er and it's a weekday. In terms of dogs on Mount Huerfano, you could definitely take a dog up this. It's just class 2, no problem. In terms of gear, really nothing. Just what to pack for a 14er. A backpack that's not broken. I don't know, that'd be great. That's gonna wrap up my video, the virtual trail guide of Mt Lindsey via the North Ridge and Mount Huerfano, which is the Centennial. A nice pair of mountains, and again, if you're here, you might as well tag this one. It's such little extra effort. If you're new to my channel, I do virtual trail guides here in Colorado and beyond. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button to not miss any future hike related content. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next adventure.